It's actually on the home page of your website. I mean, it's, you know, it's right here.
It's in the issues section.
It's in the issue. It's in the. I'm sorry. It's in the issue. To me, that was the home page of the website.
Oh, that's nice.
Was going to the issues section of both of your websites.
Nice.
And basically, you said the whole thing starts with getting our financial house in order, modernizing our budget process, revamping our capital planning process. Setti, on the other hand, has said that you believe in zero-based budgeting, and actually both said similar things about getting our financial act together. With currently about 80% of the city's expenses being personnel related, 80%. They're either salaries or benefits, you know, 80%. Let's start with Setti this time. If you talk about zero-based budgeting, aren't you really starting with a base of 80 and only being able to sort of modify the 20% because we're already contractually obligated for the other 80%. So how do you do that?
Well, what I've said continually over the course of the last several months is that we have to make sure that we're spending taxpayers' money wisely. Every single resident should have confidence that our government is investing, measuring performance. So that's why I talk about zero-based budgeting so much, as opposed to starting from the amount we spent the previous year. Let's start from zero. Let's look at every single department.
But if we're contractually obligated, though, how do you do that without changing the structure?
If I can finish, Charlie.
Sure.
And what we need to do is work very closely with the Board of Aldermen and our city departments. We need to see where we're spending money. We have shortfall. We have as you know, we have a revenue growth of 3% and an operational growth of 6%.
Right.
We've got to look at everything on the table to see where we can find cost savings and do better. So let's go through each department. Let's see where we can eliminate duplication. We've got to do that to make sure we're spending taxpayer. We got to find our cost savings, measure performance. Right. But that's also why I've been talking about health insurance. We have a 10% increase over the average over the last 4 years in health insurance.
Okay, let me get to that in a second because
that's the biggest.
I want to give Ruth a chance to respond.
That's the biggest budget buster. That's why I've said we've got to sit down with all of our unions in order
this one I'll ask you to be brief, only so I can get to the health insurance question, and that is your concept of modernizing our budgetary process. What's not modern about it right now, and how would you change that?
What I would do is start to collect real data. That's the part we're not doing. Meet with every manager of the city, meet with every employee of the city, get a real accounting of what each person is doing. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? How are you doing it? Start really collecting that data, and once you start seeing that data, patterns begin to emerge. You can see where you're being effective, where you're not being effective, where there are efficiencies to be found, where are there needs. You start linking performance and results right into the budget document. And I agree with you, by the way. I don't think we can totally start from scratch either. I think there are state mandates as well as contractual obligations. So I think that was a good point.
Let's talk about one of those contractual obligations, and it's a big deal for an awful lot of people. Both of you have talked about moving the city's insurance plan for employees and retirees to the state's insurance plan. My understanding is we have about $9 million in reserve, I believe, in capital in that may go to the general fund.
$12 million in the healthcare trust fund.
Even better.
But some of it goes back to the employees.
But once we move, if it turns out, and we only have literally just a few minutes, so I'll try to do this quick, but if we move to the state plan, my understanding is you can't really come back because you've moved it and there it is, it's done. So what specifically, and this one I am going to ask for just a number or a very quick comment about, what would the cost savings have to be to justify giving up local control and turning that control over to the state? $250,000, $500,000, $1 million? Where's the line where it makes sense?
The CAG says we would save $6 million.
Okay.
And so $6 million is not nothing. That's worthwhile. There are other.
So if it's $6 million, you're in favor of it?
I am in favor of it. If the unions would prefer having local control but redesigning the plan so that we could also save $6 or more million, that would be fine.
Okay. And Setti, how about you?
Look, I'm not wedded to the state GIC. As Ruth mentioned, $6 million savings is mentioned in it. But I'm also open to sitting down in a collective bargaining process and looking at ways we can redesign the plan we have in place now. And that should not happen on the campaign trail. Right. I'm not going to negotiate any contracts on the campaign trail. We need to be open and honest. I'm not going to use this as political fodder. Let's do this in a direct, real, serious way so that we make sure our employees have good quality health insurance, but that it's affordable and we're cutting back on the costs.
So am I safe in saying that both of you agree that if you can facilitate the cost savings that could be done by moving to the state in such a fashion where we kept the control local, that would be an option you would take very seriously and consider?
I would take that option seriously. The issue is that we have to save money in the health care. It's breaking our budget. And I would rather invest in wages for our municipal employees if we can save some money on the health care benefit, all the while getting equally good health care.
Okay. Setti?
We've also got to look at the state JAC over time. Does it save money over a particular period of time? We can't just look at it from a one-year perspective. So not only would I want to make sure we're saving money initially, but I'd like to do some forecasting to see what that looks like. If it does not, then we should turn to redesigning the plan we have in place now.
Okay. All right. Believe it or not, we literally only have about a minute and a half left.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It's amazing. There's been a lot of discussion about a perceived lack of direct communication from the current mayor's office. The mayor has press conferences. My question to both of you is, do you plan on continuing those press conferences? What will each of you do, briefly, unfortunately, to improve the flow of information? Will you have a spokesperson, an open door policy? Will city department heads be able to speak directly to the media? How do you see the communication between the mayor and the city?
I'm a very open person. I've always been open personally, but also in my role as an elected official. That won't change. I always have had an open door policy. People in the community, elected officials, everyone, I'm not going to have a spokesperson. That has served to only create a buffer between the mayor and the public. And it's important that people feel they have access to the mayor, that she should be available, accessible. I will do that by being out in the community a lot. I'll do it via the website. I'll do it via Facebook, Twitter, whatever. You know.
Will your home phone number be published in the?
My home phone number has always been published over the years, and I've been a representative. I was happy to take those complaints about sewer backups in the south side of the city.
How about you? Your home phone number will be published in.
It is now. It will continue to be. I won't have a spokesperson. I've committed to being out in each one of the 13 villages. I've knocked on a lot of doors in the city, talking directly and honestly with people. I'm going to continue to do that. Beyond the press conferences that we do on a weekly basis, I plan to hold many meetings in each one of the 13 villages on a consistent basis. People need to hear directly from the mayor, not only on the proposals, but also listening to people directly. And that's vitally important move. I'll use the website, I'll use all the new technology, Twitter, Facebook, and all the rest. But people are going to hear directly from me, and that's the most important thing that I will be doing.
So there won't be a filter between either of you and the public.
That is correct.
At all, period.
Correct.
I love it when we come to a show and it closes with such a wonderful sense of agreement. It is absolutely, absolutely wonderful. Well, first of all, thank you to both of you for coming. I know your schedules are insanely busy. I appreciate you making Newton Newsmakers your first stop and taking the time to be in here. I wish you both,
thank you very
Ruth
much.
Balser and Setti Warren, I wish you both the best of luck on the campaign trail. Whichever of you is elected, it will truly be a proud and historic moment for the city of Newton. So good luck to both of you. Here's a viewer note. Both our guests will be all around the city. This show will be repeated a number of times throughout the month of October on Newt TV for days and times. Please visit our website, newtonnewsmakers.org. The program in its entirety will also be available online on demand 24/7, also at newtonnewsmakers.org. I encourage you to get out and vote for Newton's next mayor, as well as aldermen and school committee on Tuesday, November 3rd. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time for another edition of Newton Newsmakers.
Thank you. Thanks. That was fun. That did go quickly.
Newton Newsmakers is made possible through the generous support of First Commons Bank on Beacon Street in Newton Center, representing the future of banking with an inviting environment, the latest banking technologies, and a personal touch to make banking convenient, simple, and sensible. Also at firstcommonsbank.com.